This is the Ole Valley Heritage Association, interviewing a longtime board member and Ole Valley resident Darlene Dillon. Darlene, if you could, I guess just start by telling us where you were born and where you grew up and spent your early years.
Okay, I was born in Exeter Township. My mother met my father at a Sunday school social there in Limekill, or Ole Line, whichever you want to call it. And we lived on a farm where on 662, where the Mennonite church is, they had lived in the tenant house on the farm there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know nothing about that. I was just told that.
Yeah.
And we moved to my grandparents when I was around 18 months old or 2 years old, because that's when my father died. And so I lived on that farm on Hunter Road all the rest of my life till I got married. While I lived there, I saw a lot of sights that people nowadays go to the Kutztown Festival to see.
Yeah.
I saw butchering, which fascinated me. My grandfather used to shoot the beef and the pigs right in the middle of the forehead with a .22 rifle. And I have that rifle.
You still have it? Cool.
Yeah. And I watched them butcher them when they scalded the pigs and scraped them and all that. I watched all that. Same way with cutting the meat and stuff like that. And then the next thing was making scrapple. I used to watch that. And later on, I saw my grandmother make homemade soap.
Soap, okay. What would she make it out of the fat from the...
Yeah, she used lard and I don't know what else, but I know, I never saw her put everything in, but I watched her make it, and I watched her get it out of the kettles and all that.
They used the same...
She used the big black kettle.
The same for making the scrapple?
Yeah, yeah. And later on, I did see her make apple butter, which she had a big black copper thing to make that in. And the one thing I remember about that, somebody sat outside they had the fire in the smokehouse, which had a fireplace on its own. And they had a thing that you stirred the apple butter with, and they had a long wooden handle on it, so you wouldn't burn near the fire. And you had to keep pushing that in and out, which turned the thing. I saw all that, and my grandmother had she had 2 washing machines, 2 tubs, and they were hooked up to her hit and miss engine. And the hit and miss engine was also used to pump water out to the barn. I saw all that.
For the cows? And
yeah, well, we didn't have cows, we had beef.
Beef cattle, okay.
Yeah.
Now, so to go back to the butchering, I assume you're butchered pigs and
beef.
Okay. How many would you usually do a year, would you say?
1 beef and probably 3 or 4 pigs.
Okay. And would you do that winter time?
During the winter time.
Okay.
And he smoked his own, well, he also put the hams and stuff in a brine, and later on he'd take it out of there and put it in the smokehouse and we'd smoke it.
Okay.
And that was our ham and bacon for the year.
The whole year, wow.
Yeah.
Would you ever eat when you were butchering, would you eat any fresh meat right on the day of the butchering? Do you remember?
The only thing I know that we tasted was kidneys.
Oh.
And there was something else, but I don't remember what it was.
Did you like the kidneys?
I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And we used to make the tripe,
Oh, okay. Yeah, the
I
stomach.
saw that. The same way with cleaning the intestines to make sausage. I saw that. In fact, I helped do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I think of it now, my grandparents had an amazing amount of information in their heads.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Because my grandfather did all the butchering and my grandmother did everything in the house, plus the garden and those things like that.
What stuff did she like to grow in the garden?
Oh, she grew everything. She had a strawberry patch, rhubarb, and then she'd peas, lima beans, string beans, all kinds of vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And then she jarred all the vegetables.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did she bake with
oh
the?
yes,
Yeah.
every Friday was bake day.
Okay.
Yeah, she had a routine to do baking. She'd set the bread the night before. She made her own bread.
Mm-hmm.
And she baked all day Friday. And those lasted all week.
The loaves of bread.
Yeah.
Ever any pies or cakes
Oh,
or
yeah,
cookies?
pies, yes, mainly pies.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one cake, but we didn't make cakes too often.
Sure.
But it was mainly pies. And we didn't have electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So we had no refrigeration. We had a big table in the cellar that was on chains, so no animals could get on it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where all the pies were kept.
Okay.
And our cellar was very chilly.
Stayed cold in
Yeah.
the summer even. Yeah. Did you have a favorite pie she made or?
Yes, she made a black walnut pie that was delicious.
Oh, that sounds good.
That was good. Yeah, and she made strawberry pies, which were always good. She made a lot of apple pies.
Apple pies. Yeah, and you said you made apple butter. Did they
Yeah.
have apple trees on the farm?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so they had an orchard.
Yeah, yeah. They really didn't have an orchard, but they had several apple trees.
Enough to
Yeah.
supply you guys
Yeah.
with, yeah.
Did she do that in a bake oven or a regular oven?
What's
Coal.
that?
When she did her pies and
We
cakes
had a regular oven in the kitchen.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like-
Yeah,
Coal.
she never used. There was a bake thing in the smokehouse building, but she never used it.
Uh-huh.
She liked her coal range, her
Yeah,
coal
well,
oven, yeah.
we used wood.
Wood, okay,
Yeah.
sure, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we used.
So when you were living there, did you help out with any of the farming or the?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. I had to help clean out chicken stables and all that. But,
That's not fun.
Oh yeah. And another thing that we did was when the corn was growing, my grandfather didn't like weeds in his cornfield, and we had to go out there with a hoe and clean them out
By hand.
by hand.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any mechanical cultivators that you could?
He had horse-drawn, yes.
Oh, so he farmed with horses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we had 4 horses.
4 horses. Do you remember what their names were? Or?
One was Dick. He was the favorite, and there was a Prince, but I don't remember the others.
Was he the lead horse? in
Yeah,
the- yeah.
he was the lead horse. And he was the one that I used to use when they put hay up in the barn,
Mhm.
because he had that big grappling hook,
Yeah, the hay.
the loose
Yeah.
hay,
Yep.
and I had to take the horse and take him for a walk and bring him back.
Yeah, to grab it. Okay,
Uh-huh.
yeah, cool. So he got a lot of work done on the farm.
Oh, yes.
What kind of? So your dad obviously grew hay for his cattle, and was
No,
the
my grand-
or your your grandfather? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he grew all the food for the cattle. Now
Okay.
he did buy some chicken feed, and I don't remember him buying any feed for the cattle.
Okay.
I'm not sure on that one.
Where would he get his feed from? Do you remember? Brown's Mill. Okay. Yeah. Yep. And the chickens, were they mostly for eggs, or would?
Yeah,
Okay.
and my grandmother did sell some eggs. We had a huckster coming around that bought the eggs. Yeah.
Would you butcher a chicken on Sunday ever for
Oh,
dinner?
that was mainly on main meal on a Sunday.
Yeah, a roast
Yeah.
chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you ever drive the horses when you were
Yes,
out in the fields?
Yes, I did.
Okay. How did you?
Generally, the one time I remember mainly, because I was older when I did it, he had me mow the hay down with the horse-drawn cutter.
Yeah.
I
Like
did that.
a sickle bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were they? Did you have to give them the horses instructions, or did they know what to do, or
You helped a little, but they usually
they
knew
just
to
knew
do.
what? Yeah. Did you ever, when the horses needed new horseshoes or any kind of like saddle stuff or anything like that, where would you take them for?
He had the blacksmith come to the farm to do the horseshoes.
Come to the farm.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if he needed any extra work done, it was done out. The building was out there at the end of Blacksmith Road near Fisher's farm.
At the end. Okay. Towards Yellow House. there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There was a blacksmith building there.
Yeah, that's no longer there
It's no
anymore,
longer
right?
there.
Yeah. I've heard that, I mean, maybe this isn't true, but I've heard that right at Ole Turnpike and Hunter Road, there's a little building on the corner that used to be a blacksmith shop.
It was some kind of shop, but I don't know what. I never heard that story.
It was never active really.
No,
when you
not
were
not while I was there. No, it was never active. It was used mainly as a garage.
So did your grandfather, would he sell his agricultural, like his harvests, or would he just, was that,
Yeah.
okay,
He sold some to Browns. I know that.
for feed.
And he sold his beef. He sold some to the butcher that used to be in Ole. I can't think of his name now. He lived there off of Water Street. I can't think of his name anymore.
Yeah,
But then he did sell some at Perky Owenville,
okay.
and he sold to the Browns. He sold corn and stuff, wheat and stuff like that.
Now, for the when he was selling the cattle, would he butcher on the farm, or would he drive the beef to the butcher's?
He would deliver it.
Okay, and that was, I'm sure, just done by walking them, right?
No.
Or he had a truck?
Cattle truck.
Oh, he had a truck. Okay. Was that? So they. When did you? Do you remember when they first got their first automobile, or was that? Did they already have?
No, that was a little before my time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I
But-
know my mother learned to drive the tractor, and she's the one that got one of the first driver's licenses. I know that.
Cool. So when did they first get a tractor for farming? Do you?
That I don't know. It was an old metal tractor. It had cleats on the wheels. And I know my mother used to drive that.
But they would use that interchangeably with the horses.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you ever go down into Ole Line to the hotel or any of the little
I went
shops?
to the
or-
store in the Ole
okay.
Line. In fact, we had a post office box there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of the store you want to?
I don't have. The only memories I have really are going in there and getting some ice cream.
Getting ice cream, yeah, in the summer.
They used to have an ice cream bar called the Darlene bar.
That's made just for you.
I know I used to get that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
But they had. Well, you walked in there. They had an aisle and everything on the side, and you didn't walk around and pick up what you wanted. You told the grocer guy what you wanted.
To go get it,
He got
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Did you go over to Yellow House Market when it was still running?
Yes, I did.
What kind of memories do you have of that?
The one there on the corner?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there. And I used to go to 5 Points too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were they selling at Yellow House Market?
Fresh vegetables and stuff like that, and I don't know what else. But I remember the vegetables.
So then when you started school, how would you get to school?
Oh, Well, we had to walk from the farm over the hill and down to the bottom and get in the bus there. We had to be there at 20 after 7.
Yeah, and that's what, like, I'm sure that's not a very short walk either.
No, but then my uncle's kids, they had to walk from their farm down the road.
All the way to the same spot?
Yeah.
Bus spot, wow, okay.
Now, I think most of the time they did bring them, but not always.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they had to walk it home.
Wow. Were your uncle's kids close in age? Did you?
Yeah, they were close to me. Well, the oldest one was the same, we were in the same grade. And the rest of them, well, he had 8 of them. And the second last one was the one that went to the last that I know of, can think of, that went to school at the same time I did.
Okay. What were some of the things you would do for fun?
For fun?
Yeah.
Well, in the summertime, we used to go swimming down at Fisher's Mill.
Fisher's Mill on the Manitani.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not super close. I mean,
Well,
would you?
we drove.
You drove.
Yeah,
Okay.
we drove to get there.
Your grandparents would take you, or your
Well,
parents?
my
or
mother
Your
usually.
mother. Okay.
And another place we went swimming, do you know where the Halfpenny Farm is?
Yep.
I went swimming there in that old cement swimming pool that they used to have.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how we found out about it, but we know it was full of dirt. They weren't using the swimming pool,
Mm-hmm.
and we walked up to the door and knocked on it and said, if we clean it out, can we go swimming there?
Yeah.
And they said, okay. So we went swimming there for a few summers.
And you kept the pool clean and
Yeah.
everything. Wow, that's nice because that's right next door. Really,
Yeah,
that's close by. You know
Yeah.
who was living at the farm then?
It was a Miss Spang was her name.
Fang.
Spang.
Spang. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I went on a tour of that house years later, and that house is
Impressive.
beautiful
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in it?
Yeah, it has really nice tall ceilings and
Uh-huh.
big rooms and a big staircase.
What amazed me was the fireplace in the kitchen.
Oh, the
There's
big.
an immense fireplace in there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like an old cooking fireplace.
Yeah. That's some of my memories.
Hmm.
Sledding,
Sledding. Where would you go sledding?
the hill that we walked to go to school
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And we had a gang, with Luther's kids and me and my brother and my aunt lived down at the bottom of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And she had 3 kids. We all went together. And somebody was always standing down at the bottom for traffic.
Oh, because it
And,
crossed the road.
If somebody came down the hill and they saw traffic coming, they had told them to make sure that they'd stop before they get to the road.
Mhm.
And we didn't let anybody go down the hill unless somebody was down at the bottom.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Yeah.
And
nice and
one
safe.
year, the hill, the field, the side of the highway, on the left side of it, towards Limekiln, covered over with ice and snow and glaze, and you couldn't walk up it. That's how slippery it was. We took ashes from a coal stove and put a trail on the side so we could get up the hill. And we went fishing, sledding.
Yeah.
We went sledding there for quite a while. It took a couple of weeks before that disappeared.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
And
pretty
that
fast.
was the best season we ever had.
Mm-hmm. So besides cleaning out the chicken houses, what were some of your other chores on the
Well,
farm?
we had to chop weeds, and I helped with the house cleaning. And one thing I did that I remember, I wasn't too happy to do it, but we did it. We had the rag carpets, strips,
Mm-hmm.
and when you clean them, you can't really wash them unless you scrub them with a scrubbing brush. Well, ours never got that dirty, so you didn't have to do that. You take them, 2 people, and shake them, and clean, and then she'd hang them on the wash line and beat them with the thing for carpets.
That's your grandmother?
Yeah, it's my grandmother.
Okay.
That's something else that I did. And mowed grass. We always had a mow the grass. I helped pick weeds in the garden. I used to help pick strawberries because I ate them.
Yeah.
And she also had a currant bush. And there was another one, I think a gooseberry.
Gooseberry.
Was it gooseberry? I know there was another one there. I don't quite remember what it was called. But she had those odd flavored ones. And I picked them for her too, and ate some of them.
Yeah.
Now, did your grandfather have beef cows also, or just
No, just because
just bought the calves and raised them up?
Just the steers. Yeah.
Had he been doing that his whole life, or did
Yes.
So he was a farmer through
He
and
was a
through?
farmer ever since he got married, I guess, from what I know anyway. Now, in his younger days, he played baseball.
Oh, cool.
And he was a crippled man when I knew him. And my mother told me that he had broken his one leg. I don't know how he did it the first time, but the second time he was on the top. They had brought the corn fodder in and put it up in big piles, and he had been on the top putting it up there, and he slid down and landed on some kind of log or a piece of railing or something that's laying there, and he broke the same leg. And after that, he walked with a pretty bad limp.
Sure.
How many head did he usually raise? Do you remember?
He used to buy them in the fall and fatten them up over the winter. He'd usually have, say, anywhere from between 25 and 30, something like that.
There's quite a few to haul away when they're fat.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Was there a particular variety of cattle he liked?
They were all Herefords.
Herefords. Okay.
Yeah, the red ones with the white face, yeah. Yeah, he liked that kind. And one thing he used to do for me and my brother, he'd feed one over the winter for each of us, and when he'd sell it, he'd give us some money.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know one time, one Sunday, he came to me and he asked me if I had any dimes or change. I said, yeah, I have some. And he wanted them. At the time, I didn't know why. Here, he liked to gamble on a Sunday.
Oh, no, you
know, penny ante stuff.
Yeah.
He used to do that at down in Limekill.
At the hotel.
And he also did it at Stapleton Store. Do you remember where that is?
Holy Turnpike?
Yeah, in fact, that was one of the turnpike stops, I think.
Yeah, right at Holy Turnpike and
where
Coverbridge Road.
the Sittler Farm
Yep.
and there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where he used, those two places where he went. Well, he went to the store on a Sunday because the hotel wasn't open. Yeah.
So he didn't work too hard, that he still got to have a little free
Oh
time to have fun.
yeah. Well, he didn't work Sundays.
He didn't work
Very
Sundays.
seldom he did anything other than feed the animals.
And did your mom go to church, or your grandmother, sorry, go to church?
Not too often. Once in a while, she used to go to Driveville.
Oh, they would go back up to
Yeah,
Driveville.
yeah,
Okay. Did your grandmother, did she sew the clothing and do a lot of that kind of craft?
She did everything around the house. She made her own clothes. The only thing she bought were shoes, and she used to wear those old granny type shoes that lace up.
Oh, okay.
And I think she had a good coat.
A good coat.
Yeah, I think, yeah. But mainly, it was mainly all made by her.
Did she ever have time to do any for fun activities?
No.
No, she was always working on
She
something.
she wasn't a fun type person.
Yeah.
She was a workaholic, and she knew what had to be done, what day, what month. She knew all that.
Did she have her week? Each day was a different, like Monday was wash day.
Monday was wash day, Tuesday was ironing, Wednesday I don't remember what was that. But I know Friday was baking and Saturday was cleaning.
Yeah. And then Sunday you could maybe rest a
And
little.
Sunday was, what you want. I mean, she cooked 3 meals on Sunday, but other than that, that's all she did.
Did you have any favorite meals that she cooked?
Oh yeah, she made good pot pie. What was another one that she made? I know that was my favorite.
Chicken pot pie.
Yeah. That I learned how to do. I saw her make her own dough. I saw her do all that. She made her own noodles too for noodle soup.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And she used to make what they call the ribble soup. They still make it today sometimes. And she made groundhog. We used to, the rabbits and pheasants. But she did make groundhog.
How would she cook that?
Tell you the truth, I don't know. She did it on top of the stove, but I don't know what she did.
But it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Something you didn't want to learn, eh?
Yeah, yeah, because it smelled.
Really, the groundhog?
Yeah, it's a strong smell.
Yeah.
But I mean, the food was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I can't think of anything else that we ate that was out of. I think that was it.
Lots of vegetables and potatoes.
Oh yeah.
When we interviewed Roy Hetrick a couple of years ago, he talked about TB there in that area, and that he had lost their whole herd at home to tuberculosis.
Oh,
Did your grandfather ever?
No, we never had anything like that.
Okay.
I never heard of that. No.
They had to drive them all the way to Douglasville to get them on a train.
Ooh. No, I never knew anything about that.
That's good.
Yeah, that was. I know they had a big herd there.
With the with the farming, did they have a threshing machine or? Okay.
Yeah.
With,
I used to help with that too.
Okay.
I used to help feed the thresher when it was in the barn.
It's a dusty job.
A dusty, yes, very dusty. And that was when we liked to go swimming down the Fisher's Mill.
After
Afterwards, because you itched. Yeah. That was another thing we liked to do. The kids would get together and we'd go fishing.
Fishing. Okay, where were the best fishing?
The best fishing we ever did was down in the creek that goes from Beaver's Mill down to Limekill.
Okay. Yeah.
And we caught a goldfish one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somebody must have left it go in the creek, and yeah, we caught it. And we had that quite a while, lived quite a while. We put it in in fact, we put it in my uncle's water trough in the barn.
For his cows?
Yeah,
Wow.
and it lasted a couple of years in there.
Huh. They cleaned out the water trough. They were good cleaners.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the coons cleaned them out occasionally too.
Yeah. No, we never had that problem that I know of. My uncle did have raccoons one time that he kept in a cage.
Like as a pet?
Well, I wouldn't call them pets, they were wild.
Yeah.
And we used to go, that was another thing I remember, we used to go up to Wegmans. When the old man first started the business, they used to chop off the heads, and we used to go up there and buy the heads for the raccoons.
Oh, okay. So you just feed them for fun?
Yeah, and that was, I don't know, he had them quite a few years.
This is turkey heads you're talking about.
No, chicken heads.
Chicken heads, okay.
Chicken heads. Chicken heads. When he first started the business, he did chickens. And in fact, there was a picture in the paper not too long ago of him
Yeah. Okay, I saw that. Yeah.
and he was talking about it. Yeah, well, I saw that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did your grandparents speak mostly Pennsylvania Dutch?
Mostly, they talk Pennsylvania Dutch all the time, but I never tried to talk it.
Okay.
For some reason, I know why she did it. When my mother started school, she couldn't talk English,
Yeah.
and she wanted to make sure we could talk English.
When she got to school, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I understand it. Today I really have to listen close because I don't hear it anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But so your grandfather would, when he was at the store or the hotel, would he
Yeah.
speak Pennsylvania Dutch with his?
All depends who he was talking to.
Yeah.
He was hard to understand if he talked English.
Really? Do you have a thick
Because
accent?
His accent was very thick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about going to school in Ole at all?
School, well, I did all 12 grades in school in Ole. And there's a few of us that get together now yet that started the first grade
Mhm.
and went through the whole years with us together. We only had, I don't know when we started, I guess we had around 30 in the class, but we wound up with 27 when we graduated.
Okay. Yeah.
I was one of two people that were left-handed in first grade.
Oh, really? Okay.
Billy Angstad was the other one.
Okay, and he wasn't a relative of yours?
No,
or-
no.
Okay.
He was left-handed and I was left-handed. I never had any problem with it. Nobody ever tried to stop me. So
From being left-handed.
yeah.
Did you have any favorite classes or teachers?
Yes, I had some. Of the lower grades, I wouldn't say there was any favorite. I never had any problems with teachers. I remember the Will I Turk, and she was my 5th grade homeroom teacher. And she had hanging in her room a big, well, it was like those small things that you can buy nowadays. It's not a rug, but it's a wall hanging.
Mhm.
She had one of Mountain Mary. I often wondered what happened to that.
Like a historical
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
So they taught you local history then?
Oh yes, we had local history, and I was very glad I had. History is one of my favorite subjects, I
Oh,
would
cool.
say.
Yeah.
And when I was in 4th grade, I started playing the violin,
Hmm.
and Hilda Mae
Mhm.
Sure, her and I started together, and we went through the rest of the school
Playing, yeah.
playing the violin.
Yeah, we interviewed her a couple months
Yeah,
ago, and I
she
think
said.
she talked about the viol, the stringed instrument playing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, her and I sat in the first two chairs.
Yeah, you were the top violinists.
Yeah,
Do you still play at all?
yeah. No. In fact, I sold the violin. I was never very good at it. I mean, I could handle it, but that was it.
Mhm.
But and then let's see, Joe Hoover played the oboe, and the two Glorias in my room, Gloria Miller and Gloria Deal, they played the cellos. And that's about it, I guess. We had fun with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see. 9th grade. Well, when I started in 7th grade, that's when I started in Womack. And I liked sewing. And I started, well, my mom had got me started on it too. We had an old treadle sewing machine, a white one at home.
Mhm.
And when I started in school in 7th grade, they had treadle machines there too. They didn't have electric.
Yeah.
And I never had a problem with sewing. Some of the girls did, but I didn't. But I did like sewing, and so I started making my own clothes when I was in 9th grade.
Oh, cool.
So I made a lot of my clothes, and up until that time I quit sewing, And in all these years since then, I have, my 2 granddaughters got married. I made the wedding dress and all the bridesmaids' dresses and my own.
Wow.
And my one daughter. Yeah, my daughter's 2. Yeah, I made hers too. I made all of them for each of them when they got married.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of sewing, but I enjoyed that. And then some other people had asked me if I'd make dresses for them. The last ones I made, I would say were some of the toughest ones I made. It was velvet.
Oh.
And they were form-fitted dresses. And I told the girls, whatever you do, don't lose weight and don't put on any weight because they won't fit. And they turned out beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And they were sleeveless. Yeah, they were curled, the top like that. The shoulders were out, and they were beautiful. But I did enjoy doing that. And I had, with my one granddaughter's wedding dress, I did enter it into the Ole Fair that year. I got first prize with it.
Great.
Yeah.
What was your first off-farm job?
Working for Yorgie's Cleaners.
Okay.
And I was there. It was hand sewing. And my mother worked there, and she got me the job. And but that's where I learned to sew buttons.
Buttons. Okay.
Yeah, they have a way of sewing buttons. Excuse me a minute. But I was there for 2 years, I guess. And then I got married. And we lived on the farm outside of Ole. I had 2 daughters. I left there after 14 years, and that's when I moved to Fry Road, and from there I moved to here. And that's how I got here. My father-in-law built this house, and well, he died before it was completely finished. It's still not finished. Now it needs whole new insides.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because the plumbing's starting to go, and you can tell I had to start patching the roof. The tiles you cannot find anymore. You can't buy them anymore. But we found some lady that took them off her building that she had, and she wanted to sell them, so we bought them. I have them out there in a pile.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So, you
So
got
in
some
case
stock.
any
Yeah.
of these break, we do have extras.
Yeah.
Because the tile itself is lifetime, but it's heavy.
Down at your grandparents' farm, what did they sell it, or did they live there their whole lives? What happened after?
After my grandfather died, my grandmother stayed there till she died, but my brother took over the farm,
Oh, okay.
but he didn't own it. My uncle got it in the will.
Okay, your uncle who
Yeah.
had the farm up the road.
Yeah, he got it in the will.
Okay.
And so my brother farmed it for him for a couple of years, and after he left, I think he kept it a year or so yet, I don't remember the length, but then he sold it to Wagner,
Right. Okay.
and then Wagner finally got his too.
Your uncle's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of nice old buildings on those farms. Do you have any memories of the old?
Yes, they tore the old house down, and
Okay, the little house there.
yeah, the one that was there, I have a picture of it,
Oh, cool.
and
What would no one? You didn't live in that house though. What would you
no,
use
but
it
it
for?
was used for storage. I know it kept the horse cultivator in there, that I remember. And we used to have a workshop up on the second floor. And at one time, my uncle had the one back room he made into for chickens, and we had chickens up there for a couple of years. And I remember when you walked into the door, you walked straight back, There was a big hearth there.
Yeah.
Where it used to be the open fireplace. And there was a shelf up above there, I remember that. And on this hearth were barrels of vinegar. And that's what he did. They took the cider, left it turn to vinegar, and that's what we used in the house. And I didn't know what other vinegar was like until I left the farm.
Yeah, apple cider vinegar.
Yeah. And another good story about that fireplace back in Prohibition. My grandfather had barrels of hooch there, and he was a big, strong man. And they found out the revenuers were coming. He went in and picked up those barrels and took them outside, and wherever they put them, he carried them himself.
Get them. Wow.
My mother told me that. Yes.
That's 250 pounds probably.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah, wow. These are like those big wooden...
Yes,
yeah.
but he did it. He was, I guess his adrenaline.
Yeah, he was worried. Was that a cider or apple liquor?
Cider
Yeah.
that turned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if he had any other hard stuff or not. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So, yeah, that farm has a lot of good memories.
They didn't have to go too far to get more because they made it at my farm down there.
What's that?
They used to make whiskey at my barn.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know what he ever did with it. I don't know. I don't know where he took it. She never knew that. She didn't ask. You didn't ask that man too much.
Yeah.
And swear, oh, he could swear a blue streak, but you never heard the F word.
Was it in Pennsylvania Dutch he was
Yes.
swearing? Okay.
Yes. Yes. And if he started swearing, you knew something was wrong.
Yeah, stay out of his way.
Yeah.
Would you have family gatherings on holidays or any special?
No, they never did. They never had any family holidays.
Even with your uncle and cousins?
No. Later on, after Luther's kids were all grown, they did have family reunions, and I did go to the last few of them I had got to, and 'cause that's where I saw some of the kids, and I wouldn't have known them.
Yeah, you hadn't seen him for a while.
Yeah.
What would you do if someone got sick, or what? Was there a doctor, or would you just do home remedies?
Dr. Grimm was the doctor.
Dr.
I
Grimm.
went to see, and he used to make house calls. Because my brother had gotten rheumatic fever, and he came to the house to take care of him. Yeah.
Well, I think another important thing to talk about, since Darlene's been on our board for so long, and how many years were you president of the Ole Heritage?
I think around 6 or 7.
6 or
like
7,
that.
okay.
Yeah. I just couldn't handle it anymore. That's why I.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Who was?
And, Kelly took over for me.
Kelly took over, and you
Yeah.
took over for
I took over for Mr. Lesko.
Bob Lesko.
And
Okay.
he took over from Hilda.
Hilda Fisher.
Yeah, and Hilda was there when I started. James Van had asked me if I would be interested in joining him. And the only reason I can think of is I wrote her a letter one time. I was ordering something, and I put a note in about, this was when they were making the calendars, and I said, why don't you make up a calendar of outbuildings that are on farms?
Yeah.
And after that, a couple of weeks or a couple of months, she called me and asked me if I wanted to be on the board.
Yeah, I guess she really liked your idea.
I don't know, but
Did they make a calendar with outbuildings on it then?
no, there were some done, but not that specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know my uncle's farm was on one,
Yeah.
And he had a spring house.
Yeah, that's a nice. It's still
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah, it's still there. And he used to have rainbow trout in the pond that's in front of, if the pond is still there, I don't know. He used to have rainbow trout in there.
And they were eaten. They would eat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big spring house.
Did they store food in the spring or anything? What?
Yes, because they didn't have the refrigeration
yeah.
either. That's where we stored. We used to store our milk in the spring. In the spring house we had, it was covered. It was in the building where my grandmother used to do her wash and the hit and miss engine was in. And the spring was in the bottom. And they had a board across the one side of it, about, I guess it was down about that far, because you could use your big crocks that they had, you could use them, and we used them to keep our milk in and sit them on that board. And every once in a while, if you could sneak in and get in there without making any noise, you'll see one of the water snakes drinking milk out of the pot.
Really? Oh, they would drink milk. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that. Huh.
And they had the freshwater crabs in there too.
Freshwater, like the.
They're almost transparent.
Okay, not the crayfish though.
Well, I don't know what you call them, but
Yeah.
I know they're almost transparent, but
Okay,
we
yeah.
had them in there. And if we got a watermelon, the spring had an overflow, and that went outside. We used to sit the watermelons in that creek to get them home, because the water was very cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you have any other questions, Carl?
Well, somewhere along the line I heard that you had a motorcycle.
Yeah. Let's hear about
Tell
that.
us the story about that.
In fact, I just sold it about, I guess it's about 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was riding up until then.
Wow.
I had a trike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, I've been on one of the motorcycles. My uncle, my mom's brother, he was killed on a motorcycle on the Lindbergh Viaduct.
This is Luther.
No, it was Raymond.
Oh, okay.
Raymond was his brother, and he rode motorcycle and he did races.
Wow.
And my brother and I used to go along to the races on a Sunday, so I was around motorcycles all my life.
Yeah.
And my first husband didn't want anything to do with motorcycles, so I was out of it for then. But after I met my second husband, he got a motorcycle and we started riding. And I was always a little bit afraid of him to try it myself. But when the trikes came out, I looked at that, I thought, that I can do.
Yeah. Cool.
And I was, how old was I? It was around 70 or something like that when I got it.
When you started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I liked it, so I rode it a good bit. And then I started losing the strength in my arms and my hands.
Yeah.
And it was about, I think about 4 years ago, I finally I'm going to sell it. It's just sitting here not doing anything. So I sold it. And I hated to see it go, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Yeah.
Where did your uncle race?
He used to race Williamsport, Denver. There used to be a track down at back of Birdsboro. Where else did we go? Hanover. Oh, there was a couple. Some in Delaware. I don't remember where anymore. But we used to go along to the races. Yeah. He didn't have to bother about us because we were old enough to take care of ourselves. So we had fun. Now my brother rode too up until right before he died. He rode too.
Well, is there anything else you want to talk about, Darlene? Anything we?
No, I can't think of anything else. I think we hit most everything.
Yeah.
Can't think of anything else anyway. Not right now. Anyway.
What are some things that, when you were growing up and little, were, you know, that we haven't talked about already, that were like commonplace, that people wouldn't know what they were today or about, or what kind of activities?
I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I think I hit most of them. I mean, we had breakfast meals, we had lunch meals, and we had dinner meals.
What would you eat for breakfast?
For breakfast, you could have fried potatoes, scrapple, or very seldom we ate eggs. Once in a while. We usually had eggs on the Sunday if you wanted eggs.
Eggs for breakfast?
Yeah, yeah. And for the lunch meals was usually a regular dinner because of working. You work in the morning and work in the afternoon, and you need your food to keep going. But she used to make regular meals for dinner, and then a good supper was usually something like pot pie or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any soups ever?
She made noodle soup, beef noodle. She made beef riddle soup, and she made vegetable soup. That's about it. She didn't make any other kind of soup. She never made schnitz and Gnap, so I've never tasted that.
Really?
I don't know what that's like.
Huh.
She never made that, and I don't know why.
Yeah, maybe she just didn't like it or something.
One thing she did make that I didn't care for, she'd take bread and make it into little balls and cook them, and then you'd eat them in milk.
Yeah, okay, I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, that she made, and she used to make the milk pies, which some people like. And that she used to, if she had any crust left over from making pies, that's what she'd do with it, make milk pies.
On the farm, were all the workers just family members? Did they have any hired help?
Yeah, they had hired help. Usually one person, and they'd usually live with you.
So they'd stay you'd make the meals, your mom would make them, or grandmom?
They'd eat at the table with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were growing up with Bill Angstead, you should have some stories about him. Was he the Bill Angstead that started Red and Bone, or the one that was the supervisor?
It was Bill Angstead from Route 662. I don't know who lives there now.
Yeah.
It was a. I guess he had a dairy farm. Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember his dad's first name.
Where on 662?
You know where the schoolhouse was that they burned down?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, go past there and it's on the right side.
Okay, yeah.
It's right across from the one that goes down the lane into the hill, the hollow. Right before you get to the cement thing. It's on the right side.
Okay, yeah. One thing you could talk about, your classmates, were there any of them who were interesting characters or troublemakers or any particularly fun class kids?
Our class didn't get in too much trouble. I can't think of it. My cousin, Richard Moyer, he wound up in Georgia. He was a brainy person. In fact, he was valedictorian. You know where Hilda is.
Yeah.
Gloria Deal was Gloria Frankhauser, and she was a teacher in Ole. Gloria Miller wound up in Texas. I don't know, and I know she did missionary work in Africa.
Wow.
You know.
You think Gloria Frankhauser would be a good person to interview?
I don't know. She's she's a little. She might and she might not, depend her mood.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you could ask her.
Mm-hmm.
Her first instinct would be to say no.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe because Hilda did it and I did it, she might. I don't know.
Okay, well, if you can get in some good encouragement to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I can say something to her. Because she's one that I get to see.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin Betty, who is Luther's oldest daughter, she's in one of the villas up here.
Oh, a Keystone Villa, or?
Betty, what is her last name now? Heck.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
up in Fleetwood?
Yeah. Yeah, she's the one. She had a pretty tough life. Her first husband died early. I don't know if the kids were full grown or not. I guess it was just a while. And then the second one died. He had cancer, I think. And then the last one she was with, he died too.
Oh.
She had it pretty tough.
Well, I have one more question I can think of. When did your farm get electric?
When I was 14 years old.
14 years old?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that in the 40s or?
Yeah, in the 40s, because I graduated in 49.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I used to do my homework on the kitchen table with
Coal oil lamp. Okay. What would they use when they first got the electric? What did they use? What was their first thing to electrify?
I can't remember. I know when they did the wiring of the house, they did it very sparingly. Because upstairs, there's 4 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And the only electric socket was in the top of the stairway in the little hallway.
Okay.
There was none in any of the bedrooms.
None in, yeah, so you had to use an oil lamp or, yeah.
And it was, I mean, all you had was the center room light. And that's it. And in the kitchen, we had one light in the middle of the kitchen, and that was a big kitchen. And I think it was with the long tubes. I think that's what was put in, but I'm not positive anymore.
Mm-hmm. Did you get a telephone?
No. There was no telephone in that house when I left.
Really?
No. They didn't get a telephone there till my brother got married and moved in the other half of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had a telephone.
So if your grandparents wanted to talk to their family back up in Dryville, would they write letters, send it to the post office?
Either that or just go visit.
Just show up, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.